everyone. This is no joke, easily the largest drop of info we've gotten in months. And this huge drop of news didn't come from your average source. No, Sonic Frontiers director Morio Kishimoto, who was radio silent up to the release of Frontiers, decided to return to Twitter with a complete 180, going as far to not only address literally every single criticism and change coming to Frontiers, which I have no idea why no one else is covering this, as he is literally confirming tons of not just updated related stuff, but direct sequel info too. And I know, this is crazy, it probably sounds at least a little like an exaggeration, right? But seriously, I am not capping here, and I mean the video will prove that itself. He even teases a little bit of upcoming non-AAA spin-off titles within the next few years. There has literally never been this much info coming from anyone at Sonic Team, including Iizuka, and Kishimoto is being so transparent about even the flaws and issues he finds in Frontiers that this has never been seen before. Even in the 90s and 2000s, they wouldn't be this clear, and until now have remained hesitant to even embrace social media the same way modern devs do. So I'll start this story in chronological order so you can see Morio's switch in mindset as we progress, and he just starts going off basically. I've been saying Morio Kishimoto was going through a complete redemption arc, and the haters doubted hard. But where are they now? Oh yeah, game ended from heroin overdose. That's right, every one of my haters is confirmed a heroin addict. And I want to go right into all this news. So if you're not a heroin addict, drop a like, subscribe, and set the bell to all notifications. And you know what? Shout out everyone who sets the bell, as that number is growing rapidly. And let's play the new theme and get into it. So this all started when Morio Kishimoto got a nice stroke to his ego based on the positive reception he received from going over the first look at Frontiers' new revised ending that he even says inspired him for Update 3. And I covered this when it happened a bit over a week ago, but after today, that news looks like a droplet compared to the swimming pool we just got. So let's start in chronological order, oldest to newest, as that makes the most sense. And again, no cap, the second Kishimoto got comfortable on Twitter, he just started dropping more news and confirming stuff left and right. So let's start with a visual one to get our neurons firing. This Twitter user sent Kishimoto a bunch of concept art from the Mega Drive era and explains how these type of Sonic set pieces can fit into the open world. And I'm showing this one in particular because I agree entirely. The way these platforms blend with the environment to make a single cohesive level rather than a base world that it felt like was added onto is really nice. And this is something Morio agrees with me on, writing, "Thank you for sharing your valuable materials. The nascent," which for my younger audience means new and just beginning to grow,
nascent
open zone is full of possibilities. This material was very inspiring to my ideas. Thank you very much. And these designs are obviously something that would be for a sequel and not the Frontiers update, as it's unlikely we're going to get a whole new island, and they'll likely just flesh out the fourth one more. And even if we do get a new island, I mean, we're not going to get like 4 more islands. While possible, there's been no new mention of a new island, so doesn't it seem a little foolish to go in expecting that?
Duh.
Next, which is more interesting, is he goes into something almost everyone agreed was flawed in Frontiers, and that's the lack of spin dash and the awkwardness of the drop dash, something that was a key element to moving in the adventure games, so it makes sense the more free playstyle fans would obviously want to see that return. And Kishimoto responds with, "Thank you for your feedback. I see, it's true that this behavior isn't working yet. I think that incorporating it into the open zone will further expand the range of play. Thank you." So my man's literally just confirmed he's not happy with this and will add it in the next Sonic game. And this is just one example, but seriously, this is the most transparent look we've had at Sonic Team since ever. This exactly is why Twitter is a rat hole, but yet there's no other place where this type of interaction would happen. And next, it gets even crazier because he gives us this. A user named Sonic Fruto, in response to the announcement of the demo for Frontiers on the Switch, writes, "But will this demo come to other consoles as well?" Which, I mean, who cares? Obviously, we've all played the game. But Kishimoto in response drops this massive Ethan Klein word with, and he's referring to the demo, "But I managed to make it in the gap between the master update of the main story and the large update. So it seems that other consoles will be a bit difficult. sorry. And did you hear it? Why are more people not jumping on this? Like, sure, we know there's a quote news story that was present in the 2023 roadmap, but we only speculated that this possibly could be referring to the ending. But now, the game's director literally just outright 100% fully confirmed this is a new ending. So I better not see any of you guys calling this one clickbait, or I swear, ooh, I'm gonna lose it. And there's tons more drops just like this that he made. But on the topic of a new ending update and a second major update, this means one of two things. Either update 2 is going to be bigger than the little tease of features they showed already, or there's going to be another DLC after update 3. Something I wouldn't mind at all, as more Sonic is always a W. Sega is doing note for note the exact same maneuver Mass Effect 3 did to fix their ending, something that somehow actually worked out for them, and even in their case, it was a paid DLC. With this being a free update, I imagine this having an even more successful rate than Mass Effect's new ending, something I'm genuinely excited to see. And that chronologically leads us to the long and extensive thread that I covered in the video before. But the reason I bring up that post is that it marks a huge change in the rest of all of these tweets. After that thread, he goes from dropping info every couple weeks to every couple days, and eventually once we get to literally today, every couple hours. So after the thread, he gives something insightful as to why this change is occurring, and he says, we had 200 playtests during production. For example, if the population of North America is 500 million people, if we could ask 20,000 people for their opinions on Frontiers, we would be able to get answers from the average North American person. That's why it's so precious to me to be able to use this Twitter to hear your opinions, which, I mean, that is like one of the few upsides of Twitter, and this is an incredibly base take. It may come in harsh-seeming forms, but at the end of the day, whether positive or negative, the opinions he's receiving are real and are very valuable to tweaking the product to fit the intended demographic. Like, he's not going to go cry if you say Frontiers is bad. In fact, he wants to know if you think it's bad so that the next one isn't. These opinions are very valuable for tweaking the product to fit the intended demographic, which, as he stated in that last video, is the United States and Europe. Yes, that's right. W America, Wamerica. But the reason North America is the main market they're going for right now is we're the ones buying the products and showing the most love to the brand. Something I didn't even know about Frontiers was pointed out by an account called Sonic Frontiers Facts, and it states, according to Tutorial Mission CS, in one of the files, drift was meant to be available anywhere by pressing left trigger and moving the left stick while boosting. While disabled for regular Sonic, Super is still able to perform this at any time and uses a unique animation, to which Kishimoto responds, confirming that theory with, great, good find. I tried to incorporate drifting into the basic operation so that I could drift anytime, anywhere. This supersonic drift is a remnant of that. So again, another thing to check off the confirmed list, drift actually was in the game and just got removed. Yay! That was a sarcastic yay, by the way. Please don't destroy me comments. I'm disappointed this didn't make it into Frontiers, but now that we know everything for it is still in the game with Supersonic, it's only a matter of time until it gets modded back in. What's interesting is next to user writes, do you think that Sonic games can be considered a AAA franchise? And he responds with, the goals of the third generation Sonic games include that as well. That's important wording, remember that. However, I think it's up to the users, not me, to actually decide whether or not Frontiers can be considered a AAA franchise. And either he meant Sonic a AAA franchise or Frontiers a AAA game. It could go either way. Regardless, him saying that the goal of the third generation includes those games as well makes me think we're going to be getting some smaller AA games to hold us over, whether smaller 3D games, ports, or even an original 2D game, something that's been requested even before Mania. Sonic Rush fans know what I'm talking about. And with Sega saying there's a lot more Sonic stuff releasing in 2023 outside of the Frontiers updates, I don't know, this is all making me kind of excited. But back to Earth for a second. In that statement, it is possible they're referring exclusively to Sonic Prime and the Knuckles Paramount Plus spin-off that's supposedly dropping this year. But even if that is the case in that statement, this one here solidifies that there is more than just the 5-year AAA game that we're expecting. So, oh, that's right, another ding on the confirmation list. You know what? I really earned the title with this one today. This next one isn't news per se, but I want to show it because it kind of blew my mind. This user writes, hi, Sonic Frontiers was a lot of fun. I was wondering, I read online that Giganto took about 4 years to complete. Is this true? How long did it take to create the model? And was it difficult creating such complex bosses for the game? And Kishimoto responded with, yes! It's true. I didn't make the model itself, but how Sonic gets the last Chaos Emerald, transforms into Super Sonic, and how he fights the oversized enemy, yeah, took me 4 years to break it down and make it convincing. Which, even the way he specified he didn't make the model itself, but did the rest, shows a really surprising image to me. And that's that he's incredibly hands-on and in the mud working on these games. He's not just leading and telling people what to do and managing, but is on the front lines doing a lot of the game's core work himself, something I personally didn't expect. Now next, Kishimoto gives us the answer most are waiting for, which is actually a response to a longtime supporter of mine, Nefarious Boy, writing, "When is Update 1 slated to release?" And even above him, I can see fans getting crazy impatient saying, "It's either late January or in early February." Source dude? That would be a total rush job if they released it so soon. And I think no matter how impatient you are, as I have literally zero patience, I'd still rather they put out something decent and be realistic with development times, so we're not pressuring Sega to drop an update with features that barely work. And Kishimoto responded with, "It's currently in production. Please wait for a while for the schedule when we can deliver Update 1 to everyone." Which, if I were to guess, and I'm not pressuring or expecting anything, but I'd guess April for the first update, June to August for the second, and sometime in winter for the third. That is, of course, if the third one doesn't get pushed to 2024, which it could happen. They said the dates are not certain for sure. Another new thing we didn't know that Kishimoto commented on is this post by Frontiers Facts saying, "An unused variant of the treadmill challenge. This version requires you to match a certain speed rather than go as fast as possible." From Duck Dealer 1. And I guess this is like a submission from someone else. Where's my submissive? And speaking of my submissive, Morio Kishimoto responds with, "Very. I found it again. Lol. I made a lot of prototypes through trial and error to find out what the puzzles to unlock the map are, and what is the puzzle solving like in a Sonic game. This is one of them. But I actually think doing more than just holding the button right seems way more fun and stimulating, so why did this version get cut?" I understand that, like he previously said, Sega's trying to aim for the North American demographic with this game, but dog, do you really think we're that stupid? And next is maybe one of the most honest and transparent ones yet, and it's a response to a user that wrote an entire Google Doc for him. It's not really relevant to the reply, and almost all the points are things that were said in my 12 hours of Sonic Frontiers review video, and that video's a whole hour long, so I don't want to retread the same ground. But if you watch that video, you can imagine their critiques. So Kishimoto responds with, "During the production of the main story, we were moving forward recklessly, but now that the production is over, I think that your opinion was very accurate. It was very helpful for future updates and the next work." And wow, not only is he publicly and transparently owning faults on a game that frankly has less faults in it than anything Sonic Team has made in like the past 2 decades. But this is one of many firsts here. Like, even with Force's disastrous launch, they never vowed to go back and polish it, making it a full, real game. You could beat it in 2 hours. But here it seems a lot is subject to change with these updates, something they probably still don't even know the full extent of themselves, as they said they're still mid-production on the first of 3 updates. So it turns out these features we saw on the roadmap are everything we'll certainly be getting, but there's a lot more than that to come in these updates that's still unknown even to them. And that support and extended lifespan for Frontiers is something I'm so excited for, especially when you consider the phrase he said, "next work," meaning next mainline game. And it's nice to know for certain that they're not going to do what they did after Generations, dropping not only Lost World, but the Boom spin-offs too. Oh, yeah, no. The next game will be an evolution on this style, and that's a relief. Now, this next one is interesting because it has a lot of info and seems to be the most critical one so far, but also because it's a screenshot instead of a tweet, so it would take extra effort to translate it from a picture, making it impossible for lazy Sonic fans, not saying all of you are, but some of you, to reply and dogpile on him without downloading some third-party translator. Now, I'm not going to read this in full for one very important reason. This started out in English, then was translated to Japanese by Google, and then I used Yandex Translator to put it back in English from the photo. So it sounds like a caveman who stumbled upon English wrote it. But basically it says that in not just the DLC, but upcoming games, they want the ability to play with more characters. Wow, I've never heard a Sonic fan say that one before. However, they did like the difficulty in combat, but the cyberspace platforming feels stiff and again, yada yada, you get it. It's basically all the points other reviewers brought up, and it's barely even readable. Like, no joke, One of the sentences here is, "Boost gameplay when you come back. You feel like an SWA. I hope you like it." What the
Fruit
does that mean? It's kind of fanboy. Like, they say they want music similar to Sonic Runners, and while I love Sonic Runners soundtrack, whenever I see one of those YouTube videos with like Sonic Adventure 2 music over Frontiers, it just feels so awkward and out of place. That clearly isn't the tone for this game, but keyword, this game. It does seem, based on the comments Kishimoto's giving, that the next game will likely be a lot less melancholy, so maybe there's room for everyone to win here. I also want to read the last paragraph to you because it had me unironically wheezing. "I want you to become a hero of the world. It's time for you. Mr. Sorry to use Google Translate. No! Hope my words reach you. It's a good idea." And I think that's a good place to end for now. We've covered so much, literally confirming like 5 different things. And also, Sonic Awards voting, it's over. The show is in production as we speak, so thanks for the patience. I don't like to gloat. Who am I kidding? Yes, I do. But the Sonic Academy organizing this is far superior to the Oscars in every way, and I don't know who Oscar is, but I would walk up on stage and do far worse to him than Will Smith could even dream of. Okay, so I have another one of these videos soon, as Kishimoto isn't going to stop running his Twitter fingers, and I didn't even get to cover it all. There is so much. But I'll be back in a few days to cover this story, as it is still developing, and my boy Morio is gushing tons of content milk as we speak. So let's let the cow milk a little bit. Why did that sound so weird? I'm honestly sorry. Double check you're subbed, and I mean it. Double check. Whenever I say that, literally hundreds of people will go check and realize they aren't subbed, as I'm so lovable and distracting that it's easy to forget. Lots of love, and if you give me nothing, at least give me some peace. Okay, I said the thing. Go away.